you all. We're going to have a great time tonight. Let me introduce your leaders who represent the faculty in the Department of Theater Arts at the University of Oregon. First of all, Tricia Rodley will be with the Crazy Eights group. Tricia is a PhD teaching fellow. Here she is. A PhD teaching fellow and a director of the Mad Duckling Children's Theater at the University of Oregon. Over here is Kimberly Bates, yay, who just received her MA at the University of Oregon. She's a comedian, stand-up comic, and that's going to be her career, we hope. And here is Bobby Vrtis on the teaching faculty of the University of Oregon. He also directs for the Lord Liebrich Theater in Eugene. Now, have a good time, all of you. There will be an intermission with cookies and coffee and refreshments in the kitchen.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Do you want to say hello to the mic? It's fun.
Hello.
All right. So, thanks everybody. We're so happy to see all of you. We wanted to just warm you up a little bit and tell you how tonight is going to work, or how we hope it's going to work. So we put you into groups so that you could stay in that spot and we could move around, but you could still get sort of a sampler plate of some things that we do at the University of Oregon and some things that each of us specializes in. So my group over there, and just please don't groan audibly, I promise it will be fun. We're going to be doing some Shakespeare over there. Oh, that was audible groaning!
We heard that. And my group is the Spongy Sticker group over here, and you guys can stay put there, but you're going to start with me. And my area of interest is actually physical comedy and improv. I did a little bit of stand-up. It went really badly, so I don't do that anymore. But I work mostly with commedia dell'arte and Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, that area. So hopefully you guys feel like getting on your feet.
And I'm Bobby, and this is my group right down here, or at least that's where I'm starting anyway, right down in here, the dollar bills, the lovely, lovely dollar bill peoples. I work a lot, I direct often, and one of my interests when I'm directing is creating large ensembles and helping them to work as ensembles through improvisation. And so we are starting with group improvisation, ground rules of improvisation, that sort of a thing. So you guys get to do a lot of participating. Yeah, good.
Okay. So just as a little reminder, what's going to happen, we're going to do our first round, and then we'll take a little break so everybody can have some refreshments or, make a quick getaway. No. And then what we'll do is we'll rotate, so you'll all get to try out what each of us has to offer, so to speak. Who thought they were coming to see a play? We're glad you're here anyway.
Okay. Who came for an economics convention? Yes, you are in the right place.
And then, of course, who among you came for theater workshops? Okay, so I don't know what the rest of you are here to do. Puppetry? All right, so
we're going to launch right in, I guess.
Yeah, on your marks. Get set. I'll go. Okay.
We'll tell you when it's break time. Here we go.
17th century in Italy, and these groups would travel all over Europe and perform. And they used physical comedy as a means of sort of transcending language barriers. So what you guys should do is take your right hand and kind of go like this. And then in your best awful Italian accent, I want you to say spaghetti. Spaghetti. Good, that was excellent. Okay, now take your left hand, do kind of the same thing, and then you're going to say rigatoni. Good, you guys are already, you're halfway there. Halfway there. Okay, so take both hands, Italian mama style, and say commedia dell'arte. dell'arte. Commedia dell'arte. Okay, good. Okay, so if you want to participate, please stand up and come out here. And if you don't feel like participating, if you just want to observe, that's perfectly fine with me too. The way that these performers became popular is they had stock characters. So today we see a lot of stock characters in sitcoms. You know, the quirky best friend or the very serious business woman, or you know, they exist still today. But back then they were a little bit different. And so I'm going to have you guys try on a couple of them. So the first thing you're going to learn is this guy called Pantalone. And Pantalone is a super miserly kind of crotchety guy. He's usually the father of one of the love interests. So the daughter or the son in the play. And we'll begin with our feet. So take your feet and you're going to put them in what's called first position for any of you who've taken ballet. Okay? A lot of this stuff is based in ballet because that was the most popular form of movement at the time. First position, and then you're going to bend your knees a little bit. And you're always going to keep your knees a little bit bent, and that's to protect your knees. Okay? So you never ever lock them. And then you're going to hunch your shoulders forward a little bit. And when you hunch your shoulders forward a little bit, it kind of pushes your pelvis forward too. So go ahead and let your pelvis come forward and hunch your shoulders. And the last thing you're going to do is you're going to pretend like strapped around your waist is a little bag of money. And that everyone here is going to steal your bag of money from you if you don't keep very close track of it. You need to put your grumpiest look on your face. Alright? Now, Pantalone moves in very quick little steps. So, just kind of in your little area here, try that on. Move around a little bit. Yeah, check out the feet. Make sure no one's stealing your money. 2, make sure there's no one stealing your little bag of money. So, the opposite of Pantalone, well, opposite, is a character called Il Dottore. Okay? And it means the doctor, but it's not medical doctor. It's doctor as in an academic doctor, PhD. Though it is questionable whether or not he actually ever went to school. But he calls himself a doctor. And he pontificates and he gives long-winded speeches. In the play, he was a device to give the other actors a break backstage. So he would be on stage, blah, 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 and everyone would be backstage, you know, catching their breath. It's a little bit wider stance. And now what I'm going to have you guys do is widen it just a little bit. So it's a little wider than feels normal. It should feel weird and not natural at all. And remember to keep your knees bent, okay? And Il Dottore, he opens himself up, right? So his shoulders are going to go back. He usually has a large belly that he rests his hands on, and he wears long, scholarly robes. Unlike Pantalone, he is not in a hurry, so he moves very slowly. So just kind of shift your weight back and forth a little bit and move through the room. Yeah, give a little gesture now and then. The troops would use set bits of physical comedy they called lazzo, and the plural of that is lazzi. And so I'm going to teach you guys one, two, well, maybe we'll do 2 if there's time, but we'll start with one that's called charging. Get in your Pantalone stance, okay? And maybe it will help actually, eventually I'm going to have you guys turn to one side, but so you can see what I'm doing, stay facing front. And he's also kind of a hound dog. So whenever he sees a pretty lady, it distracts him. Oh, it distracts him, sorry, like that just did me. And he will take to the audience, maybe give some eyebrows, and then he will go after her. So all charging is, you're going to take all the weight from one side and shift it over to the other side, and then you're going to go after her. But everything goes that way. Yeah. Okay, so now let's say we're going to charge that way. And so everything swings this way. Yeah? So now, everybody turn and face the wall. We're going to charge this way. As soon as you've got the wind up, right? As soon as you start running, you turn your body and face the thing that you're after. And I want you to put the creepiest look on your face. Wind up and go after her. Go get her. Go get her. Go get her. Go get her. simple but difficult to execute because what they require you to actually be surprised by something that you see. Okay, so Betty is my partner, and we're just standing waiting for the bus, and Betty, and I have to see something that actually surprises me about her. But the mechanics are simple. All I'm doing is looking and looking back very quickly. That's it, slowed down. Okay? So, with your partner, just try it. Yeah, good. Good. Now it's your turn. Okay, so you're just going to be someone for her to look at. Yeah. Nice, very good. There is a slow motion version of that called the slow burn. All right? Slow burn. So let's form our circle of love again. The person you're on stage with does or says something insanely shocking to you. So when you are burning out, you got to make eye contact with your audience members. I wear rubber underwear.
I guess I'm supposed to say.
Mugging.
It is mugging. Yeah. It is, yeah. Okay, there you go.
I'm really a woman.
I just popped my sister's bigs in.
We obviously know how he feels about that. There's probably lots of opportunities in your own community to kind of start this sort of thing. And there's also workshops all over the planet for this kind of thing. I think comedy is intimidating for some reason for a lot of people, and it doesn't need to be. It's everyone is funny in their own special way. And everyone's got their own unique style and brand to bring to the table. So don't be intimidated. Keep doing it.
So we are going to be doing some Shakespeare over here.
Does anybody know what Shakespeare wrote his verse in? What it's called?
Iambic pentameter.
Do you know what that means?
Isn't it 5 and 5?
Yeah.
10.
So it's a line of 10 beats, and then one is stressed and one is unstressed. So it goes da 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 da. So we're going to make some human iambic lines. So if I'm reading the first line, I kind of go, some glory in their birth. Wait, take a big breath first. And go. Some glory in their birth, some in their still. I'm going to go for you. You just did a Shakespeare line. You're all Shakespearean actors now.
Some glory in their birth, some in their still, some in their wealth, some in their body's force.
Yeah. So that's the basic rhythm. You starting to feel it in a different way? So what I do is really hit it hard the first couple times, and then I relax it a little bit, and then I move on from it, and gradually it sort of gets built into what I'm saying if I'm speaking the lines. And then I work on some other things. So one of them is keywords. So what's a good keyword from that first line? Something you feel like we need to know in that first line. A word that means something very important. Glory. Glory's a good one. Okay, so everybody, just for your own self, come up with a little gesture. Some glory in their birth, some in their skill. Yeah, let's try one on skill too. Let's come up with a gesture for skill. So each of you, your own gesture. Some glory in their birth, some in their skill. If you flip over your paper, on the back side are two sections from two Shakespeare plays. And I'm hoping this section will do some Valentine's lines from Two Gentlemen of Verona. These are love lines. He's in love with Sylvia. And you guys, if you Henry V, he is going to war. So we've got love and war. What you're going to do is just go line by line. Read the first line. You can read it all together. And then maybe you pick out the key word you think is like, this is the key word of this line, and then move on to the next one. So, maybe try reading it all together. It gets everybody going. How are you guys doing on the line?
What joy, joy, if Sylvia be not by, unless it be to think that she is by, and feed upon the shadow of perfection. Step into the breach, once more into the breach, dear friends, once more.
Okay, the next line, or close up the wall with our English dead.
Okay.
Okay. In peace, there's nothing so becomes a man. What do you think? Peace, maybe?
Peace. Not literally.
No. Although it would be interesting to see Henry V when he's doing this. In peace.
We should all go into the town and
Joy.
I love it.
So Sylvia, be not a seed.
Did you guys get all the way through it? Yeah. Good. Try it in an Italian accent. Try your gestures.
Sylvia, not seed.
What joy, joy, if Sylvia be not by, unless it be to think that she is by, and feed upon the shadow of perfection. Except Sylvia,
There is no music in the nightingale, unless I look on Sylvia in the day.
There is no day for me to look upon. Put it on its feet a little bit. Create sort of a human iambic line, if you will. So I think there's 10 of you, right? So give everybody either a line or a word. Use your Italian if you want to. You can divide it up and you can have each of you take a line, or each of you, if you really want to say one word in that line, do it. It's up to you, and you can either keep your gestures, you've got them in you now, they're sort of in your body, so that rage or that I'm looking at you is still in there somewhere. You may not have to do it all the way.
Once more.
In peace, there's nothing so becomes a man
as modest stillness and humility.
But when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger. Music!
in the nightingale.
Unless
I look
On Sylvia.
in
The day.
there is no day for me to look upon.
Once more into the breach, dear friends.
Once more. We'll close the wall with our English dead.
In peace, there's nothing so becomes a man
as modest stillness and humility.
When the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger.
Stiffen the sinews, conjure up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard-favored rage.
Then lend the eye a terrible aspect.
thank you, Henry V.
What
Light.
Is
Light.
If
Sylvia
Be not seen.
What
Joy.
is
Joy.
if Sylvia
Be not by.
unless
It
be to think
oh
that
She is by.
and
Feed.
upon the
shadow
of perfection
Except I.
be
by
Sylvia in
the
night.
there
Is no.
music.
in
The nightingale.
unless
I look
On Sylvia.
in
the
Day.
there is
no day for me to look upon.
So do you all feel like Shakespeare experts now because you are?
Yes.
So what I do is I use those little tricks about the verse and then the gesture to my body in a different way, because we get so heady, we think it's Shakespeare, it's got to be just one thing and be just have one meaning and one sort of big But really, if you're filtering it through you, then it's something of you is going to come through. It has to mean something very specific to you. So the gesture is one way to try that out and see. And then gradually the whole, like, you all had some great moves. They even tried it in an Italian accent over here. So all that stuff ends up being stuff that's somewhere in you as you're working on it. It just may not show as big as it does when we're working on it like this. But you all have the stuff now to go out and get some Shakespeare roles. So I hope to see you on the stage.
All right. So like I said before, I work a lot with improvisation in order to help people work together in collaborative settings, especially ensemble settings. I find improvisation to be a really, really helpful tool. But improvisation can be really, really chaotic. There's a lot of creativity shooting in every direction. And so improvisation works best when there are few ground rules, a few simple guideposts to sort of channel all that creativity into something that's productive. So I thought what we could do is kind of get the basic understanding of what those ground rules are through some exercises. Does anyone already know what the golden rule of improvisation is? Do we? Keep safe? Well, that's true. That should actually probably be a rule. You should keep safe.
Yes, and.
Yes, and, yeah. So what this idea of yes, and is this idea that we always say yes. We always accept everyone's idea, their creativity, as if it's a gift. Because even if you don't really like the gift you're given, you take it and then you try to make something of it. So the and part of that is that once you've accepted someone's creative idea, hey, we're on the moon today, you say, yes, and you build on that premise. Yes, we are on the moon, and I am running out of oxygen. Oh no. And you work to solve the problem. Does that make sense? All right. So a good way to sort of illustrate that rule is to start with a little bit of miming. And I always start with a ball, and it's a ball that I toss a little bit. And then I start it around the circle in any old direction. And I'm going to give it to Jesus. Yes? Jesus? Either way?
Jesus.
Sure. And the first thing Jesus is going to do after he tries the ball out a little bit is he is going to destroy the ball and create it into something else, maybe a telescope. And then try it out a little bit. And he'll pass it to Carl. Carl will then use the telescope a little bit, and then he will in turn destroy it, create something new, and pass it on.
Everyone here tries Are we still? In place.
We do not know what that was.
You're going to destroy it.
It's something you do.
Then we get just a little more complicated. So this is a game called What Are You Doing? So you'll get your own chance, but you're going to be a demonstration first. All right. So Scarlett will come into the middle of the circle. She will begin doing any activity in the world, any old activity. She will begin miming it. Anything you like. Okay. Good. Now, once she's established what she's doing, Melise will come into the circle and say, Scarlett, what are you doing?
Scarlett, what are you doing?
And Scarlett will say anything in the world except what she is actually doing.
singing.
Good. So, once she says singing, she hops on out of the circle and Melise begins singing. So you accept whatever it is the person before you gives you. Does it make sense?
Scotty, what are you doing?
I'm flying a spaceship.
Come on. Someone save him quick.
Raining.
Joe, what are you doing?
I'm raking the lawn.
Mike, what are you doing?
Running for president.
So this time, let's do the wheel. So this is a very similar exercise that kind of combines the two exercises that come before. So do you want to go this way again or this way? Who wants to go first? We will begin a scene using this as anything but what it in fact is, which is the wheel, right? Or a bicycle wheel, anyway.
Am I supposed to figure out what it is?
You figure out what it is and you begin a scene. And then I'll call the scene after, 4 or 5 lines.
Must be a hat.
Oh, go ahead and start a scene. Tell them what a lovely hat it is.
Oh, what a lovely hat you have. Thank you, thank you. And did you buy it locally or was it from the village?
The village? What is the village?
Oh, it's down the road a bit.
Oh, I wouldn't buy anything from them.
Oh, why not?
No, I only buy local. That's too far away.
Okay.
And pass it on.
I wish I could do this.
Stay safe now.
Are you driving a car?
No. Spinning a pizza.
Why aren't you throwing it? That's what you're supposed to do.
Because it's a little heavier than that.
Doesn't that have a safe on it? Doesn't it need a safe?
Would you like pepperonis on it?
Sure.
How about some hot peppers?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Friend or foe? Sweet!
Hey, Sam, you got room for one more?
Oh, yeah. Just like last night, yeah. Here's guys.
Is it clean enough yet?
No, it's still too wet. I gotta get the blood stains out.
Shall we do one more kind of culminating exercise, perhaps? This one requires 5 volunteers. Any old 5. Just come on out in the circle to volunteer. Any old 5. Oh, you were also brave a minute ago when you had to be. We need to divide up some roles. We need 3 friends, a boss, and an employee. You look like someone's boss, so what will make you the boss? Who is going to be the employee? Oh, it could be anybody. Go ahead, Scotty. You can be the employee. All right. Now, Scotty is always late to his job at the peanut making factory. And once again, he is late. He has no good excuse, but he's got to keep his job. He's got to make sure Andrew doesn't fire him. But he doesn't have a good excuse. But luckily, he has 3 friends. His friends are going to mime the excuse for him. All you have to do is figure out what they're trying to mime to you, okay? Now we're going to send you back behind this corner, and you will plug your ears and his excuse is going to be that his wife died. His wife died, okay. So he rolls over and he sees that his wife died. And then What was it?
Tsunami.
Okay, so he rolls over and he sees that his wife is dead, and then he looks out the beautiful view and he sees tsunami coming. So how does he escape the tsunami? So he runs like crazy.
No, the house is a giant boat.
Okay, so he runs like crazy to his neighbor's house, which turns into a giant boat, and he made it to work. All right. So all you have to do is mind that.
I'm sorry. You never believe what happened. I was sleeping, and then I passed out. I was such a deep sleep. I couldn't wake up, and then my wife, she was happy or sad. And then my wife, I woke up and she died. But it's okay because there was a nice breeze. I drive a kite to work and it got caught in the storm, and then I had to row all the way here. And then the sun came out, and I continued to row. It was a long way to work, as you know.
Just by way of summing up, I really think improvisation is a great rule, a way to free up all that creativity that is inside you by sort of forcing you into a very tight situation. And what I would encourage you to do is actually try to bring just a little bit of that into your life. Allowing that creativity. Yeah, maybe not murdering people with bicycle wheels, but you know. But that willingness to accept one another's creativity and build off of it. Because I think you guys really created some nice stuff.